Hello and welcome to tutorial number 4 of EntityStream Custodian. In this tutorial, what we're going to do is going to show you how we configure the what we call concepts and concept groups within EntityStream. Now you would have noticed from the previous tutorials that there's very little configuration that we do. The first step we do is we install a marketplace widget. And that marketplace widget will install a default data model, match rules for us, and then we configured a set of file listeners, and that will just pick up files, look at the data in the columns, identify whether it's an address, a name, and then work out whether that row in that file is for a person or an entity or whatever it is. Um, and so there's a little bit of configuration that you can do to the product. Now, this configuration is not available in the trial install. This is only available in the licensed install. So if you do have a trial version of the product, then please take the effort to register it. There's only a small amount to pay to continue to use it for the personal license. I think you can use it for free, pretty much for less than 3 files, or a very small charge. So the components that are professional are modeled on the menu here. You see we have a data model, a concept model, quality rules, match rules, and publish. Now, a data model really discusses how we can store data and those tables that we store, which contain our Excel spreadsheet data. So each of our spreadsheets has essentially a table which stores the information in it, the metadata around it. We have a concept model which tries to bring together those different spreadsheets and tables of data so as they all look conceptually the same. And those concepts are the key aspects of how everything works inside EntityStream. We also have the quality rules, which there are thousands of rules that we already have inside the product, and they're fully configurable. So they're rules around country and person and stuff like that. And we'll briefly touch on that today. And then finally, match rules on how we identify the uniqueness of something, for example, a person. So the first thing to do is we'll note on the dashboard here we've got what we call here a concept, concept group and a concept. A concept group in this case is sensitivity, concept is religion or race or underage. So it's a subset of that sensitivity. Now those are configured using the concept modeling tool as you would expect. So if I go in there, I can see my sensitivity concept group. And it's a very simple setup. So for the concept group, all we really have is a couple of different attributes. One is an inheritance algorithm, and the other is a reporting type. Now, an inheritance algorithm at the moment for sensitivity is set up as don't. This is for when you may want to create a kind of golden view on the search screens, or when you're reporting the data inside EntityStream, you might want to specify how the inheritance will work when it's dealing with lots of different files of data. How does it determine the best name to use in the reporting, or what it pushes to downstream systems, whether it's latest value, the longest value, or in this case, any real value, i.e. any non-null value. In this case, we're not really doing much with inheritance on sensitivity, so I'm going to leave that as don't. And there's a reporting type. And the reporting type is how do you want to display this information on the dashboard is a typical use for the reporting type. And at the moment, what we want to do is we want to report sensitivity by concept. So I want to say every time you see a concept that has a valid, not null, real value, I want to count that and show that on the dashboard. I might want to show the actual values associated with the concept group. So if it's a concept group that just contains maybe something like a consent indicator, I might want to report the actual values. Maybe it's got consent, hasn't got consent, or different variants of in between there. Or I may want to report the existence, the true or the false, the yes or the no. I do have some form of consent indicator, or I don't. or in some situations, I may actually want to count the number of concepts that I find. So very similar to the reporting the concepts here, which is going to show you the number of concepts, number of records that have that concept attached to them. This is going to show you the number of unique records that meet this concept group's criteria. So at the moment we have sensitivity as report concepts, and if we look on our dashboard, just quickly flip to our dashboard, you'll see that that's exactly what we're doing. The VIP one isn't here because there's just no data for it, so there's no ability to report on that if there's no data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip to the person concept. Now, the person concept is set up to define a unique individual. Okay, it's there to define how a person is identified. And in a minute, we'll look at the match rules of how that is indexed and how that is matched together. What I'm going to do is at the moment we're not reporting person on our dashboard. I'm going to report it unique and then save those changes. And what that's going to do, it's going to change the way my dashboard looks. So if I quickly refresh or click my dashboard option, what you'll see now is I've got a person widget appeared. Now this is telling me that I've got 1900 records I've loaded from my 3 different spreadsheets from our previous tutorial, of which there are 959 unique records and 941 duplicates. And what I can do is now I can analyze that. Okay, and when I analyze this, if I actually click the button, then what that'll do is that will go off and that will pull back all the unique values for persons. So I can scroll down here and you can see that I've got various different individuals in there. These are all made up names, by the way, so please don't worry, for GDPR purposes. And I can do is I can expand out these search results. So this is my golden record that I'm looking at here. I'm looking at a record in Mongolia, Antoine, and you can see that Antoine is mentioned in the employees spreadsheet and the untitled spreadsheet, and I don't think he's mentioned anywhere else in the data. Okay, so it gives you an indication of, that you can quickly go in there and look at the data, the analyzed data. Okay, so let's quickly flip back to my dashboard now. And instead of dealing with concepts for the purpose of reporting, we're now going to look at is this concept of person. A person is the key thing that we're trying to grasp here within this model. It's a GDPR model. We're interested in identity. So what we have inside our concept group is person. We have this concept called person name. Now, person name, if we expand out the concept properties, is of data type person name. So all we have really inside this concept is the ability to define that the person name is one of the key reporting aspects of a person. And the person name data type is really just one of our internal data types that says, okay, when you assign this concept to be this type of this kind of contact person name, it means that we're going to treat that data that we see for that person in a very special way. The way we match things is very differently. The way we merge things is very differently. And you can see here what we've got is a variety of different choices that you can make around things like addresses, person ages, age ranges, ticker codes, company names, etc., etc., etc. But the key one I'm going to use here is either going to be company name or person name. Or maybe in some situations I may use address or end address when I'm looking for some location. Okay, and that's all I need to configure. Really, that's all I need to configure for the concept. And the next key aspect of this is looking at things like the match rules. Now, I've just defined a concept group called person, and person can be assigned to my index. So I define an index in this system. Okay, I call it main and I say that index it around this concept called person, which is now going to take all of the person name details and index all of my records using the person name details. Now remember, I haven't told it where the person name details are, okay, or where any of the other fields are. But of course, person name isn't the only aspect that we use when we're matching. What we want to do is we want to do fuzzy matching, but we want to base it on not just the person, but also on other aspects. So within the rules definition here, we can say what makes a good match for a person. And simply, all I have to do is say that I want person and something else. a person and email, or person and phone, or it could be person and address, or it could be person and date of birth and address. And all I have to do here is just specify which of my other concepts I want to include in each of my match rules to make up what I think is a good match rule for a person. And then with each of these rules, for example, this is the person and email one, what I can do is I can go and set my acceptance score and review score for each of those rules individually. So very simple to define concepts, and then it's simple to define match rules. And you notice at this point in time, I've never dealt with any of the fields in my Excel spreadsheets. Now, finally, I'm going to flip back to our sensitivity. What we did have on here is we had this concept of underage, which was one of our sensitive indicators on our dashboard. Now, the underage indicator is based upon the date, okay, and the date of birth of an individual. Now, what we'll try to do is we'll try to guess the date of birth. As you can see down the bottom here, that we've successfully guessed the date of birth in the employee's Excel spreadsheet as being the DOB column. Now, the DOB doesn't tell me underage. What it tells me is the date of birth. So what I need to do is I need to define in my quality rule a formula that relates to my underage concept, yeah, which will tell me if that individual is underage or not. Now, this is just EMCA script, or aka JavaScript type rules that you can define, and it's basically saying take the current full year, which is 2018, and then take away from that the original text, which is the date of birth, find the full year from it, which in this case is probably 2000, and is that less than or equal to 18? If so, yes, it's underage, else no, it's not. No, it's not underage. So you can define and attach to each of those concepts a formula that can enable you to do very, very complex reporting in a very simple way. And that's how this underage concept has been defined. Now, before we leave quality rules, what I will also show you is that we talked about data types earlier on, and we talked about person names, and we talked about company names. But we can also see here that there are a series of rules that are attached to each of these data types. And if I take something like the Ukraine, UKR, and do search for that, what you can see here is that we have defined as rules within the product the ability to say UA, UKR, Ukraine are all equal to the same thing. So when we see data from different sources that uses different schemas and different mechanisms, then what we can do is we can look across that inconsistency in that kind of data governance process and identify one single view, an ability to match very, very neatly and quickly across different types of data. Now, if you've got your own data types or your own country names, then you can add your own in here as well. So that means that you can affect the way that the quality rules will do matching and cleaning of the data within the product. It's a very quick 13-minute overview of matching and concept modeling inside EntityStream. Please join us again in the future for future tutorials. My name is Robert. Thank you for watching.